Yeah.
Browse-based live studio.
But as late night TV show hosts or began encouraging people to report to their employers, people who.
There's cookies.
She says some of her classmates believe negative comments should be suppressed, but others think it's important that inflammatory comments can be said without punishment. Jacobs is a junior at Jacksonville High School. He says people with opposing views should be able to talk about their differences without things escalating.
Okay, so now, how do I send this to him?
Let me send it to you, and then you can send it to him. What's your
Just
number?
send it to me. Okay.
What's your?
Give you my number?
Yeah.
This generation teaches the next generation to be kinder and more open-minded.
0716.
McGee is a sophomore at Pulaski.
501-912-0716.
People in power should think before they speak, because their words could
Well,
evoke
do this.
violence. She adds that for things to change, students must step up and lead. We are very
It could make us famous if we did this.
I need you to put. I'm sorry. Hold on. I need you to turn your volume all the way down and put your screen on mute.
And put the screen on. How am I gonna do that? Oh, got it.
Here's live from 3 to 5 p.m. The
Yeah.
worst
You got that going?
I'm Frida
Volume
Ross.
down.
Arkansas
Put
News
it on mute.
Find our present indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
Do you have all of our mics on, Tony?
Mm-hmm.
So household will lose their coverage because the president and his allies in Congress want to take
Okay, there's Carter.
that help thousands of households in
Where are you?
buy health insurance.
I think he needs to finish the link. You said you can enter.
Instead of helping wealthy families get the care they
Okay,
need.
so
The end result.
insurance.
I
Do
didn't
you
see
want to put a
that.
name right there? You don't have to if you want
Now
to.
the president and his allies refuse to negotiate with those representatives and senators
Into the
who
studio.
continue to have families.
I got you. Well, turn your camera. Yeah, there you are.
Okay.
Call your U.S. representative and senator today. Tell them that
Y'all see yourselves?
families get the health care they need instead of shutting down the government and firing federal employees. For more information and the phone number for your U.S. representative.
And it's actually better to talk into the screen because then it look like you're looking at the audience instead of looking at each other when we talk.
Yeah.
376-7151, extension 1.
Yeah, that's your intro music. Play longer.
Y'all have me in there twice now.
No, I only have you in here once.
You don't
I
have.
only have you, I have you in here once. There you are right there. What is your, yeah.
Okay, what I did was, I did something wrong there. What I tried, see if you can help me out there. I got two of me in there. One of them, the mic's muted, one of them, it isn't.
Go live.
Wait, let's see if that did it.
I think I hear it.
Did that change it?
Good morning.
Now we got feedback.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I hope everybody's having a great morning here on K. Here,
It's not
Little
mine,
Rock.
just turn mine off.
You heard the music, because you like the 9 o'clock, you know what time it is, time for the workplace. here on KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people, community radio. Hey, we got a great show for you today. We got a full house. Yeah, I'm your host for the workplace, Toney Orr, and as always, my beautiful, vivacious, fierce co-hostess in the studio, the Reverend Dr.
Woo-hoo, you can call me Denise. So is it time for announcements? Wait a minute, I can wait a minute.
Wait 1 minute. Just want to say thank you for everybody who showed up for a celebration of Big Grip. Also, want to just thank everybody who continue to donate, continue to give to KABF 88.3 FM. And as I said, we got a great show. We got some people in studio. Y'all hold on to your hat, pull up your girdle, and strap in, because it's gonna be live today. But first, we got some announcements to get to. You got some announcements to be.
Oh, yes, I do have some announcements. Now Gary's not in at all. Gary, can you come back in? Yes, the first announcement that I'd like to make, I'd like to correct myself from Tuesday when I talked about the exhibit that's happening at the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts. It actually starts tomorrow. I think I said it was already going, but it starts tomorrow, and it is on the 3rd floor, and it's called Architects of Being. So at the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts, the new installation, the new exhibit starts on tomorrow. That's Friday, October 3rd. And it is going to be on the 3rd floor. And the Six Bridges Book Festival is already taking place right now. It started on September 28th. It will run through October 5th. There are multiple things happening today. Tonight at 5 p.m. from 5 to 7, there is a Shannon Wright art exhibit, and it's sponsored by the Hearn Fine Art Pyramid Art Books and Custom Framing. That's happening on from 5 to 7 on tonight. And then you have from 6 to 7 at the Ron Robinson Theater, there is Louis Sakar. You can see him. Also on tonight, that's happening at 7:30 p.m. Stay right there at the Ron Robinson Theater. You'll be able to see the presenter, Wright Thompson, with the book, The Barn. And the moderator is our very own, that we know so well, Dr. Karama Neal. I also want to remind you of the announcement that Osiris made the other day, because we're looking for the youth. He's always looking to engage the youth, and there is an event happening for you. It's called Let's Talk, Arkansas Youth Coalition for Social Change. That is happening at the Hillary Rodham Clinton Children's Library, 4800 West 10th Street, right here in the city of Little Rock, 72204. So this week is already jam-packed. You've got a lot to do tonight. You've got things to do on Saturday, because that event with Osiris is Saturday from 11 to 1. Y'all come on out and support the community. That's what it's all about.
Okay, so I want to get to these announcements real quick. So your future, your style, future professionals, open house and showcase. This will take place October 2nd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Arkansas Technical School, 200 East Washington Avenue, North Little Rock, Arkansas. It'll be live demos, enrollment info, swag, and rappers. That's your future, your style. Also, this is happening on Sunday, October 5th. The South End Neighborhood Group Sing, SENG, Crump Community Garden cordially invites you to attend Autumn in the Air, 3rd annual fundraiser for Crump Community Garden. Sunday, October 5th, 2025, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. is at the Crump Community Center, Community Garden, 33rd and Chester Street in Little Rock, Arkansas. There'll be a garden tour, music, food, punch, silent auction, bake sale, wine donation. For more information, please contact Ruby Jeffries at 501-291-7160. If you would like to make a tax-deductible donation, please mail to SENG Crump Garden, P.O. Box 165263, Little Rock, Arkansas, 72216. Thank you for your support. And DePaul, USA in Arkansas presents 3rd annual Evening of Jazz to benefit Jericho Way in Little Rock and Opportunity House in Pine Bluff. 2025 honorees is former Little Rock Mayor Mark Stoller and newly elected Pine Bluff Mayor Vivian Flowers. This will take place Friday, October 10th, 2025, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Our
at the
phones might be too
Cathedral
close
of
to
St. Andrews, 617 South Louisiana Street in Little Rock, Arkansas. Artists that will be featured in features, Rodney Block and Dorothy Moore will be the special guests. For more information, please contact carol.miles@thehall.org.
Can you hear it through your phone? Keep it close. Can you hear it through your phone?
Are you, you not getting feedback there?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have
So,
an announcement.
okay,
KABF has a show Saturday from 11 to 12, every Saturday for the last 15 years, called The Fix It Show. Me and Gary and our friend Bert does this show. We talk about everything in your home, from your front gate to your alleyway, trying to fix it, keep it going, help you out with some projects.
and let me tell you something, they give good information. I have taken that information and used it in my home, and it worked. And for those of you who know me, know I am handyman and Toney Orr do not mix.
Do not mix.
Do not mix. But if you, even if you're like me, that's handyman challenge or handy person challenge, if you get the right information, you get the right instructions, even you can fix the issues in your
Yeah,
home.
but you're fine over here.
So, like I said, we have some guests in the house. I want each one to introduce themselves, give a little synopsis of what you do, you know, and what is your role in the community, if there's a role in the community. Starting in my right.
You're right, okay. I'm Carter. I am the Director of Operations for Fuller & Son Hardware Incorporated. It is a locally owned, family-owned business. It's been around since 1921. It's established, and we're small hardware. We're not small, but we're small. Do you understand? We're not Home Depot, but we're not a little mom and pop shop either. So we'll help you out with your hardware needs, anything from electrical, PVC, plumbing, faucets, cleaning supplies, yard work, we got you.
Okay.
And my name is Gary Butler, and I've been on the Fix It Show for, 14 years. Construction background, remodeling background, and master carpenter, and the rest of the stuff comes real easy. As far as, longtime Little Rock resident here, and done construction all over the South, and just really enjoy coming to KABF on Saturdays. It's a weird thing, but we've done this show, and we do it so well. Carter and I get along so well on the show that it just flows through, and we call it the fastest hour on radio, because before we know it, we're past the bottom of the hour, and obviously I'm not very techy, because I've messed up my video screen here. Denise has tried to help me out with that. But,
You're fine, you're fine.
Don't feel bad. Neither am I.
Okay.
You know,
You're young enough, you should be. I'm 73 now, and I've been retired for, I've tried to say I've been retired for 13 years, but he reminded me that in 2020, what's that?
You built a schooling cabin.
Yeah, I built some rooms on a schooling cabin, and I'm re-retired now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, I know the listening audience and those on Facebook and whatever. So, how does, a corporate,
I'm a devout Capitalist, yes.
a corporate from a small business.
Who is a devout capitalist? Y'all heard him say
Devout
that.
capitalist
Yes.
and a retired construction person. What does that have to do with the workplace? It's kind of ironic, the workplace and the Fix It Show. So everybody is here this morning. What happens on Saturdays, a lot of Saturdays, is that there are these conversations between Carter and Gary and me about the state of the country, about the state of community, about all these different things. And a lot of times,
And John Kane and Charles Ray also.
yes,
We get into these wonderful conversations up here in the studio and in the office in there too.
and it was suggested, because normally we run out of time. We only have about 10 minutes before they go on the air and we have these conversations. And for a while, there's been talk about how to take that conversation in the office and bring it to the air. Because I think me and Denise talk about this all the time. Until you can have this open dialogue about so many different things, then you never understand the other point of view from other people about so many different things.
Which is the absolute biggest problem facing America.
Right.
Okay, we do not empathize with our fellow citizens.
Okay,
Well, he can come closer to you.
Okay. We're still working on the mic.
Yeah, he would feel
situation
better
here.
if y'all, can you come closer to him? So
Yeah.
you all can share your camera.
You
Where
bet.
your
Just
camera.
get right over here. bud.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Because his phone is driving him up the wall.
so,
Thank you for fixing
all
that.
right,
Just make sure you're in the screen.
okay,
I'm born here in Little Rock. I grew up in the ghetto. Yes, we have a ghetto. 29th and Asher, do you know where that is?
yes.
Okay, that's where I grew up. I went to Oakhurst, I went Southwest, went to Dunbar, went to Central, went to ULR. I am a absolute Arkansan Little Rock person. So I grew up in a very meek, poor situation, all right? So yes, I'm a capitalist. I believe that you have the right to buy and sell whatever you want in America, as long as it doesn't cause harm for anybody. But by golly, we have responsibility, so I'm a liberal. I'm a centrist liberal. My good friend here and I do not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I respect the hell out of this man because I know and I love him, okay? He doesn't agree with half the things I believe in, but he respects me and he's my friend. Why can't that be the norm in America?
Well, he said something. Let me go ahead and let Gary get it.
Yeah, and just when you talk, scoot up because we're trying to see you in the screen. We are streaming globally, so everybody wants to see you from all over the world. We want you to be
And
seen.
phone lines are open, 501-433-0088, 501-433-0088.
Yes, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
And one thing, when you say you are centrist liberal,
Help people understand.
okay, explain that to people like me who don't understand centrist liberal.
We pay taxes for the ability to make life better for its citizens. That includes the weakest, the sickest, the most non-communicative, disabled. We have the responsibility to care for them. That is not a conservative point of view. That is a liberal point of view. It's a progressive point of view. We should take care of people in America. Now, a lot of my friends will say, why would I want to take care of somebody else that refuses to take care of themselves? Because it's your responsibility. I also believe that healthcare is not a privilege, it's a right. Okay? That's a liberal point of view. The rest of the world, I'm on the right. Okay? So, I believe government has a purpose. And the purpose is to protect and defend us from foreign and domestic threats. So I think that is what the purpose of government is for. And I think we got away from that.
Okay.
Somehow in the 60s and 70s, we were on a great movement, and then somehow the 80s and 90s just decided that we were going to be siloed. And I blame the internet, I blame cable TV, sensationalism, I blame that. Because we're all in silos now. We're all either absolutely for the left. We talked about this Saturday that you have violent people on the left and you have violent people on the right. Those are the smallest little bit of the American population. Tiny, but they're the loudest. And that's what everybody sees with, oh, look at those liberals over there. Oh, look at those conservatives over there. Most of us are sitting right across the street from you, or the table from you right now. We're the norm. So, yeah, that was good.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, keep keep going, keep talking.
So that is why we're here today. We have had some amazing conversations over the years that we, I guess, expound upon, and we talked about. I just wanted to express that there is another opinion out there than just what you hear on TV. You got the Foxes, you got the MSNBCs, you got the CNNs. That's only one part of it. There's other parts, and because people only watch what they like hearing, they don't hear the things they don't like to hear. How can you be empathetic about someone else's needs or wants or desires if you don't listen?
And I agree with you, because a lot of times a lot of people don't want to get in the room or get in conversations with others because
Talk to the camera, yeah.
it makes them feel a certain type of way. It makes them feel their feelings get in the way, and it's difficult. So Gary, what is your point of view? Based on what Carla was talking about. What's your point of view?
My point of view is a Christian conservative, and if you want to know how I'm going to vote, how I'm going to try to think, it's all in the 66 books of the Bible.
Okay.
I gave my life to Jesus in June 6, 1974, and I have been using him as a model to try to conform my life to what he shared on this earth and what he did on this earth.
So one of the questions I want to ask you, because we've had this conversation in our office so many times.
Yep.
So you're Republican.
I'm a Christian. Right now, the reason that I became a Republican was because there was only one political party in Arkansas. There was an also-ran. You either ran as a Democrat or you had an also-ran. Now that the Republican Party is established and dominant, I'm ready for another party. I really think we should have more than two parties. I think we should have as many as population allows.
Okay, so
Why did you, go ahead.
So we had the conversation once before, but you voted for this current president.
That is correct.
Okay.
I basically voted against the opposition, and that's the tragedy of the modern election system is we only have two candidates up there, and which one are you going to vote for?
Okay, but my question becomes that
Keep going.
this president, in a whole lot of ways that you voted for, is against so much of what Carter just talked about.
Okay, as far as that goes, it's, in my estimation, it's the evil that you have or the evil that you don't. I don't know. It's like, would it have been better for us to have worldwide, wide open euthanasia, or some people call it abortion? It's there are things that the other candidate, and again, I have been accused of saying it's a position that I have because I'm a white male, and that it was a black female running against this person, that I was somehow prejudiced there. And that can't be true because I'm a Christian, and we are inclusive, and we are. Of course, I come from a family of strong women. You know that one, right?
Yeah.
And if you think my sister's strong, you should have met my mom. I mean, she's a little 90-pound dynamo, and you just, you loved her. She loved you. But we have in the South a heritage of strong women. And I don't know, it may be from the North and the West and the East too, but we have some very, very strong women in the South. And I really celebrate that. I have no, that doesn't scare me because I've been raised around them. So.
Yeah,
Wait, please let me say something. Okay, I wanted to get in on this when you're Gary, right?
I'm Gary,
Yes, this is Gary. When Gary, you said that Christians are inclusive, but if I'm not mistaken, Christians are against people who are same gender loving, otherwise known as homosexual. And Christians do not believe that women should lead because, well, we'll invite you into the space as long as you stay in your spot, which is beneath the man. So when you say inclusive, and we know that those two things are true, how does that work for you?
Okay,
I
well, she's asking.
But I asked Gary.
I know, but just because some are, doesn't mean this man is.
I'm talking to Gary. He can answer for himself, I'm sure.
Okay.
He's old enough. I think he's old enough. I think so.
This is my partner. We can go back a long way. So really, when you say that Christians are not inclusive, people who are gay or lesbian or something like that, then I understand you haven't been to my church. That's an assumption that you may have because of other people and what you may.
No, that's in the
acquire
Bible. That's in the Bible.
What it is we do not, and we shun sin, and we don't get the choice as to what sins are. It's written in the Bible. When I say 66 books of the Bible, it's actually in there. If you want to go to Romans 1, you can read that. It's in there about homosexuality. Doesn't mean that we are trying to keep the homosexuals out. We really want them in. We want everyone to go to heaven. This is our goal, is to see, and that was Christ's goal when he came to this earth, was to provide a way that we could all get to heaven, so that it wasn't through this mechanical thing that had been really, I really don't want to use that term, but
use it. Say what's on your mind.
Well, it had been bastardized. The church at the time when Jesus came here was a total money-making machine, and it's that's why he turned over the change makers tables. You heard about that. Took a whip and drove them out because they were selling animals in the temple, and they were not just selling them, but they were charging people for exchanging their money. They could come in here from all over the world, but they would change the money. And so he stopped all that, and he said, this is my Father's house. I'm not going to do that. When he did that in anger, he actually loved the people that he was chasing out there with a whip. And this dude's a carpenter, so I knew he had some muscles in there. He was raised in the trade. So, when he was popping a whip at you, you were getting out of the way.
So you believe that people who are LGBTQ plus are going to hell? That's what I got from that statement.
I believe that if you continue in that, as the Bible says, if you continue in sin, and that's any sin, that's lying, that's stealing.
You voted for a president who lies every day. Every time he opens his mouth, he lies.
I ain't gonna defend him there. I've heard the dude.
So there's a lot to the story of his family that you don't understand, and I understand right off the top how you would assume that, but it's not that.
Yeah.
About voting, I'm a Democrat by birth. Okay, I grew up in a highly Democratic spot, so I did not vote, but he's still the president of the United States. I don't like what he is doing, but he is the president, and he has a bully pulpit of a conservative ideology, and I hope that will wake enough people up on my side to where they'll realize that the midterms, they can do something about it.
Okay, let me just ask one follow-up question to Gary, because I don't feel like we finished. So we were talking about LGBTQ, but I just want to know, when you said the Bible says, you talked about Romans 1, was Jesus the writer of Romans 1, or was that Paul?
Actually, God wrote the Bible.
God wrote the Bible.
Well, I mean, when you compare the Bible to any other text, and you find out that we had over thousands of years in it, and it's all so complementary, and it's all it's not just complementary, but it's all specifically focused, in that it's all on God and God's love for us.
Okay, I get that. Let me just, one last statement. So let's just be clear. Paul wrote Romans, not Jesus. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay, Toney, I'm sorry.
Well, I understand. What we say is that it was inspired by the Holy Spirit. You see, when Jesus left this earth, he left us here. He didn't leave us alone. We're just not on our own to fight the devil by ourselves. He left the Holy Spirit here to give us that strength and the guidance for that. And I truly believe that Paul was a holy man of God. He wasn't just some guy in a bar somewhere that decided to write something, that was correlated with, was tied to these other books.
Yeah, and I am inspired by God as well, as a holy being living right here amongst you. And there's nothing in my faith practice that would say that God would exclude anybody, that Jesus would not love everybody regardless of, and Jesus would not send you to hell for something that you were created to do.
We agree on he won't send you to hell for something that you were created to do. He did the creation. We do the recreation. And sin in its basic form is when we decide we're going to be God and he is not. And this is what happened. Even the original sin was Satan in heaven saying that he wanted to be God. He wanted to be like God. He wanted to set up a kingdom like God. Eve in the garden said, was deceived, and Satan told her, you will be like God. So that's the antithesis of sin. And we got a caller.
Yeah. Call you on there.
Well, thank you so much. Good morning, Sister Denise.
Hey, Ezekiel.
What's up, man?
To those in your studio, those listening, those on the web. First, to the gentleman from Fuller organization, I appreciate Fuller. I actually shop there. I find it easy to shop there because they're so helpful and they're local. You don't even have to go through a litany, if you will, of tests to prove that you're a veteran like we do at the big stores. You used to go in with your ID and say you're a veteran. Now you have to go through the internet and everything to get a discount. So I prefer to shop at Fuller's. They're knowledgeable and they're very helpful. Thank you so much for what you do, Fuller representative. Now, getting to the point, he was raised in a ghetto right around the corner from where I live. True. But he was white now. So a big difference.
I was a minority.
While you were white and working hard, the blacks who were working hard were being denied access to jobs. As you can probably remember, when you were a little boy, they couldn't work at the state capitol until Rockefeller came in and started letting them get government jobs. They couldn't work in city hall positions until Mr. Buster got down there, and then all of a sudden they started getting access to jobs, and it wasn't through affirmative action, it wasn't through quotas, it was through acceptance. Those programs didn't come in until much, much later, even though folks wanted to say that you got hired just because you were black. But we know they were discriminated against because they were black. Now, that's a fact. It was called Jim Crow, of which you grew up in the Jim Crow era. Not holding that against you. It wasn't your problem you were going or wasn't going. But to make long story short, you were white. And so you had privileges, if you will, that blacks and so-called minorities do not and still do not enjoy. That's not your fault either, because that's something that was part of this America before you ever got here. But to make a long story short, and I appreciate you being a capitalist, I think folks should be paid based on their productivity and usefulness. But when you don't recognize the evils, Mr. Hitler did some good things, I'm sure, but he was so evil, who want to compare him to being good? You understand what I'm saying? Can you see the nuance what I'm saying? You never say anything about this president who you say your family man, etc. You never say anything about this president who will grab little girls, young girls, those girls competing in beauty contests, even if they shouldn't be competing there. When I say shouldn't, that's being prudent, if you will. But grab them by the private parts and still be revered. Who does that? You're a family man. Who does that? And how can you love someone and respect someone and see them being depressed and oppressed at the same time? And if you're pro-life, how can you be for a death penalty? If you're pro-life, how can you be for Department of War as opposed to Department of Defense or Peace? If you will, explain those nuances to me. I still respect you as a businessman and a person in the community that I will continue to do business with because of your
I think you're confusing the
collaboration
two
with
of
the
us.
community in the way that you always help out with
That's fine, we'll figure it out.
starting a tool or giving advice. And not throwing up a lot of roadblocks to get discounts like some of the big box stores do. And if you will, elaborate to me how it is that you can support a person who has confessed to being a child molester and lie like you say all the time, and I'm sure the Bible says something about the evils of lying to the extent that they were hellbound. I can't quote chapter and verse. If you will, explain to me how that is embraced by so many so-called conservatives. And if you are pro-life, how can you be pro-death? And with that, I'll get out there. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak. And I enjoy your show. I listen to it as soon as I can, right after coaching, and I'm going to leave off. And I appreciate the advice you give the community because it's very, very helpful, especially in a money-saving way. Thank you very much.
Let me weigh in real briefly before we get to answering the caller's question. So the first part is going back to the conversation about Christians.
Right.
You know, because of the way, you know, when things happen and people say, I am, you know, like when Lieutenant Governor Leslie Rutledge said, I'm a gun-toting Christian. You know,
Okay.
or when you find someone who, who professes to be a Christian, but then you're watching them, and going back to the Bible, Jesus even said, if you don't believe in me, at least believe in the works that I do. But when people are saying I'm a Christian, but then you see them not operating in the way of the principles of Jesus, it makes people believe. And you have to remember, the KKK was a Christian organization.
Democrat.
But Democrats and Republicans were different back then.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
But it's not the same context.
So you had
I heard that.
So you had
But
these
the Republicans back then were anti-slavery.
Yeah.
The Republicans.
So
Okay.
you had these things.
Uh-huh.
You have these things that people look at, and it gives them an idea of what a Christian, you know, based on what they see of what Christians are. And so the next question becomes, how do people, just like we're doing now,
Uh-huh.
we're not going to always agree, but we can have the conversation. You know, how do you get people? And one thing that was said by the caller was that, okay, yes, you grew up poor, but you grew up poor white. So that's a difference. You know, that's a difference based on what the caller was saying. But how do we get these differences into a place where people can at least say, it does not matter about the peripheral. There's people who need healthcare. There's people who need housing. There's people who need women, mothers who need childcare. There are women who you want to have babies, but you don't want to educate the children once they come. That is the crux of what needs to happen. How do we get that to happen?
Well, first off, we have to start talking to each other better than we're doing now. I did get a text that my voice is not going through. Is it do anything there?
Yes. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, I'll first off, when the caller, I think he's confusing the two of us. I am the liberal. I'm not conservative in that way. I might be financially conservative, but I am a liberal. And so I do not believe that anyone in this world has the right to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body, regardless of the Bible. Okay? I do not believe that anyone in this world
out your
should be able to be told they cannot love someone that they love. So let's get that clear, that I will not stand and let people put a label on me that says that I feel a certain way. I need people to understand that I am progressive in certain ways. I might be physically conservative. I think the government does a lot of overreach in things, like banning abortion. You don't know the situation. You don't know the health. You don't know the ramifications of that woman's life or girl, as it is sometimes. That's none of our business. It's between her and her doctor. Yes, I understand life. I understand that whole argument. But it's
That
none.
begins at conception?
Yeah, well, does it?
Yes.
Okay, well, but the baby can't survive this.
There's actually been a Supreme Court
Well,
decision
that's
on
an
that
opinion.
because they accidentally went to protect the babies in the womb because of the birthright of the illegal aliens, children that we have here, and the Supreme Court just.
You mean the 14th Amendment?
No, they just ruled that the child of that person, even though it's still in utero, is protected under the citizen.
I would really like for them to answer Ezekiel's question. Remember, Ezekiel had a whole list of how can you be for Trump? How can you be for Trump, and then how can you be pro-life and all of these? That it was a whole.
How can you be pro-life?
He asked you those. He asked those questions.
For the death penalty.
Right.
How can you? And I think we talked about this before the caller. Is that how can you look at someone who is a liar, and Trump professes to be a Christian? He professes to be a Christian. So if he's a Christian and he's a convicted felon, he constantly lies and he
Disrespects women.
And sometimes he talks racist talk. So if he's a Christian, how can that be justified?
Even if he's not a Christian, we can take the Christian part out of it.
Okay.
But just your support of him in the face of all of what he stands for, that's what the caller is asking you to respond to.
And I'm okay with that. I'm a lone conservative in the family from a liberal, so this is not unusual for me to start with. I mean, we've got several things to start with there. How can I be pro-life and support the death penalty?
Mm-hmm.
We got two different things there. Abortion is the death penalty for the innocent. We have the totally innocent. I am a defender of those who are defenseless. And you see a baby in the womb is totally defenseless. They have no way to defend themselves. They don't have lawyers. They don't have politicians. They don't have giant corporations that are seeking to terminate their life. So I am.
But they have a body. They are inside of a body, and that body can make the choice. That's not for you to decide. The body that's housing that embryo, which is not a baby, that body makes that decision, not you.
Well, when you say embryo, that term really means a baby.
If it was a baby, the baby would be viable outside of the person's body.
I mean,
but it's not.
At what point is a baby viable? Because, when a baby is born, they're totally defenseless. They're totally dependable on the mother or the parent, whichever. So at what point do you say that the termination of this life, because they are totally unviable, and they can't take care of themselves, and they can't produce money, and they can't I mean, at what point do we say that this is a human?
So, okay, I understand. You're saying that you support the death penalty because you want to protect babies that are in utero. All right. So what about
No, you confused me there.
You said that the
When I-
death
when I
penalty is
say-
for people, the babies in the womb who are
Well,
defenseless.
If I confused you there, I'm sorry. The death penalty is that. The reason that is a death penalty on them.
And that's why you
when we're
support the
talking
death
about-
penalty.
No. When we're talking about the death penalty, we've got to separate the two of them here. We've got, one is a totally innocent here, and one is a totally guilty.
And-
Because everyone who has been, who has received the death penalty has been to court, and they have been convicted, and they are guilty of the crimes that
They've been found guilty, but we have a record in this country of sending people to the death penalty that are absolutely guilty. That's why we have the Innocence Project and people like that doing the work, because we don't have the record to say that everybody that goes to the death is sentenced to death is guilty. We can't say that. That is not the truth.
I totally agree with that. And that's why that it is such a tiny percent of those who are totally guilty that that you're talking about. And that's why I really do support something like the Innocence Project. When it first came out, it was clear that it was a good thing, because there were people who didn't get good representation and who were railroaded by, I hate to say it, but by policemen who were trying to get a conviction. And when they went to get a conviction, they disregarded the evidence that was against that, and since that wasn't a decent lawyer for this person.
That's the same thing that's happening right now, almost every day in this country.
Yeah.
And so to support the death penalty in the face of a faulty system, because statistically speaking, those that are going to the death penalty are primarily disparity is Black people, and especially when they kill a white person. And when a white person kills a Black person, it's not the same sentence that's being sent down. They don't automatically send them to death. In that case, they usually use the death penalty as a pawn. They'll say, well, we'll use this to negotiate your sentence. And so even though you're talking about what happened before, oh, that's a shame, but it's a shame that it still happens now, and yet you continue to support this system that we know is racist.
Okay, now the system is not racist.
People that,
You talked to, and Judge was up here, and we're talking to him, and he talks about how there is a huge number of Black folks that are in jail right now, but he convicted those people because they were guilty. It's not like the policemen out there, whom I have a great deal of respect for. They've got a terrible job right now. And it's not like they're out looking to convict people who are not guilty. And they want to find the guilty party. That's what they look for, is guilty people.
Excuse me. I want to say this because this was a Supreme Court ruling. I cannot remember the case, but it's a Supreme Court ruling that Supreme Court said that race is an inherent part of a criminal justice system, which means that there's nothing we can do about it because it's already embedded into the system. So you can't use race. Then at the basis of the Supreme Court said you can't use race as a defense because it's there. But we can say what we want to say. We know that if you get stopped by the police, that they're going to be more comfortable in talking to you and dealing with you. You can even ask questions.
I hope so.
But me, if I get stopped by the police, it's going to automatically be this tense situation that when they come to me, I'm not going to be able to ask too many questions. I'm not going to be able to move. I have to act a certain way.
Okay, so what we need to do about that is talk and understand and say it's not acceptable.
Yes, but one of the reasons that I think that the conversations break down is because of exactly what's happening right here now. That we cannot agree on the truth of something, on the reality of our situation. So because we don't have a starting point, so we're going to spend our time going back and forth because we're not even at the same place of saying, this is the state of affairs in America. This is where we live and this is what's happening. So when you say that there is no racist system, see, we can't have a conversation because this entire country was born on race. And when you say that, oh no, the police officer, the judge is convicting the guilty, we know for a fact that is not true. I can pull stories, research, study. We can look at the demographics, we can do all of that and show that that is true and real and right in our face. But if you cannot even accept what is true and right and the reality in your face, how are we gonna have a conversation?
You didn't listen to what he said.
Yeah,
I absolutely
this
heard everywhere. And why do you keep trying to talk for him? He can speak for himself.
Well, because if I said that to you, you'd say the same thing.
I was trying to give another perspective, and that's why we're here to talk about other perspectives. The system itself is ran by people who are impaired. Okay?
What do you mean impaired?
Because
Mean
they-
racist.
Socially, morally impaired. Had a wonderful guest one time. The sheriff of Placer County came on here and he says he doesn't run a prison, he runs a jail. And I didn't understand that question. And he says, most of the people that I house are not guilty yet. They're assumed guilty. And they're there because they couldn't afford bail.
Right.
He runs a jail, not a prison. We've got to start realizing that our problems are not religious. Our problems are not racial. Our problems is economic. I can't say that enough. I talked to you about this last week. Our problems here is not, it's not Republican, liberal. It's economic. We cannot afford the cost of living right now. I'm raising prices every week in our stores because of the tariff. And I don't care who says what. Do you know who's paying that tariff? The people at the cash register. I cannot absorb the cost of a 20 to 50% rise in a product. I can't do that. Some companies are doing that because their profit margins were higher than that. I must pass on that cost to my customers. The people that are in jail right now, we talked about this last Saturday on my show here there. The people that are going before if you go down to the traffic court right here, Little Rock, most of the people you're hearing from are not first time in front of that bench. They missed a court date, they didn't pay a fine, something has happened and they're back there again. Because of that ever returning cycle about they can't afford the ticket in the first place. Oh, so we're gonna put a penalty on you and make you keep paying those tickets. It's an economic situation that we're in right now. We've got to realize that you can't always tax and pull everything from everybody.
And so I do agree with you that so much of what's going on is economics. But the problem becomes it's the have against the have-nots.
Absolutely.
And the people, and within the have-nots, there's a hierarchy, that even though I'm a have-not, I'm better than you. And so once you get to the bottom of the have-nots, where the economics really play a part, because I don't have the economics, because I don't have affordable housing, because I don't have affordable health care, because our education system is messed up. Now the capitalists at the top, the haves, are now preying on the economically disadvantaged. And that's where the problem is. And I do agree that in order to have the true conversation about all of this, there has to be a truth of where everything is. And if you can't understand the reality of where this country is and where all the have-nots, the economic, if you can't come to the table and say, I realize where we are. This is where we are. Not here, not there, but this is where we are.
And we cannot take race off the table ever, because even in this conversation, when you talk about the economically disadvantaged, then the disparities that are created by the system, the disparities that are created, then who is the most vulnerable of the economically disadvantaged? That would be Black folks, hands down. And so then when you say you're passing on this tariff, well, we are, the system, the economically disadvantaged already don't have enough money to make ends meet. Now they got to pay even more just at the hardware store. So this is something that happens all the time, where people want to, you want to parse out the conversation, but you cannot, because this is an intricately designed system that includes all of these oppressions, and you can't just say, oh no, we're not going to talk about race, we're just going to talk about money. It doesn't work like that.
Well, the reason that I would like to get us away from that is because there are things working even greater than that, and I believe it is, my personal opinion is, it's the billionaires that set us against each other.
Of course.
And they use race. They use race to separate us. They use, things like abortion, which is, that's a hot topic. There are a lot of those things that and when we are separate from each other, when we are battling each other, we don't get to the things like when in there talking with Toney, and it takes a while through conversations before he realizes that I trust no politician.
Yes, but if you take
Zero
race off the
politician.
table, though, you are erasing my story.
Not necessarily.
Yes, you are, because I am not, because the caller said this earlier. When you talk about growing up in the ghetto, as a white man, that is one story. When you talk about growing up in the ghetto as a Black man, that's a different story. And so if you say, well, we're not going to talk about race, then you're taking all of the story of the Black man away, because the only reason he's living that experience is because of his race. So when you take away race, then you dismiss his entire existence. And you cannot, I'm not going to allow you to do that. So you can't take race off the table.
Well, that's your religion.
Racism
Racism is your religion.
Racism is my religion.
It is your religion. I mean,
What?
I've heard you before on here, and racism is a religion.
I
And
say racism is a religion?
I said it.
You telling me racism is my religion?
Yes.
Okay, explain yourself.
And it's very easy to do that. I mean, you have everything hooked to racism. If you do that, then
No, what I do is I center Blackness, because there are very few
Same thing.
spaces where you can center Blackness. You always want to take race off the table, which then means we're not going to talk about Blackness. And I will not let you do that. We are going to center, and we center, this is what I say. We are centering Blackness in the context of the human story. So no, sir, racism is not my religion. And you're not going to make me think I should stop talking about it.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
Well,
We're
Just-
not asking you to.
just one
Yes,
question here.
he
One
is.
question.
He just said he wants to take race out of the. Are you listening? He said that's why I want to take race out of it.
You're
He
not
just said
gonna
that.
win that one.
Okay.
You just
Like
said
I
that.
So I've got a question for you.
Sure.
Have you ever been turned down a job because of your race? Because you're
Yes.
Black? Really?
Yes.
Explain that to me. I mean,
We're gonna have to have a part two.
seriously.
Believe me,
Dang, I
you
thought it was
will,
bottom of the hour.
you will come back. If you're free next Thursday,
Yep.
you can come back. And we can continue this, but the
I
great,
enjoy this, by
yeah,
the way.
the great thing.
And I love you. I want you to know I love you.
I don't feel this is a conversation. I don't take it personally
Yes,
at all.
yeah, you know, and just like you vouch for him, I can vouch for her.
But I don't need no back.
And we all agree, you cannot move forward until you can have the conversation in the present. And
Oh, absolutely.
And I love that, I love the fact that we're having this conversation. Well, we might not agree, we may look at it differently, but you're having the conversation, which means that there's a possibility that on some level, we can start to understand where we need to go, but more importantly, how we need to change where we are to go forward. So I appreciate you, James Carter, from Fuller Hardware being here. Thank you, Gary. And the one thing, Gary is right about one thing. He is the black sheep of the family. when I'm out for family gatherings, they invite me out to family gatherings and things. There are some great conversations, and the one thing that I can say is that there's never been a time where he was offended in anything in any of the conversations. So just that makes a big difference in all of us. So thank you for tuning into the workplace this Thursday. Next Thursday, we're gonna pick this back up. We're gonna pick this back up if they're available. Make sure that you continue to support KABF 88.3 FM with your donations, with your pledges, and have a great day, and see you later. Bye.